Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're tackling a big one, the influential and, let's be honest, often pretty confusing spiritual text, A Course in Miracles. Doesn't matter if you know it well or have never heard of it, we're going to break down its core ideas. And let me tell you, it kicks off with a premise so out there, it's going to make you question, well, everything.
So right out of the gate, the Course just throws down this massive challenge to our most basic assumption about, well, reality. It wants us to take a hard look at the world our senses are constantly telling us about. This solid, tangible world full of people, places, and all our problems. And ask, is any of this actually real?
And here's the core idea. That world we all experience, especially all the pain, the fear, the conflict, it's not some objective thing happening to us. Nope. The Course says it's a projection. It's basically an outward movie of what's going on inside our own minds. It's like we're the filmmakers, watching a movie that we produced and directed, but the crazy part is we've totally forgotten that we're the ones running the show.
Okay, so this brings us to the first big idea from the Course. If we really are the filmmakers, then the world we're seeing isn't the cause of how we feel, it's the effect of what we're thinking.
What this really means is that trying to fix our lives by, changing the people or situations around us, it's basically a waste of time. The Course says that's like going up to a movie screen and trying to wipe away the villain. It's just not going to work, right? The real power isn't out there on the screen. It's in changing the film that's running through the projector. And that projector, that's our mind. Okay, but wait, this raises a pretty huge question, doesn't it? If our mind is the projector, why in the world would we make a movie that's so full of conflict and pain and suffering? It doesn't make sense. Well, the Course says it all goes back to one single fundamental mistake in how we think.
And the culprit, according to the Course, has a name: the ego. Now, this isn't the ego we usually talk about, like being arrogant or full of yourself. No. In the Course, the ego is something very specific. It's the part of our mind that was born from what it calls this one tiny mad idea. The idea that we could actually split ourselves off from our very source. A source it defines as basically a God of pure, unconditional love.
And believing this idea of separation, man, it sets off this insane chain reaction. It's like a row of dominoes. First, there's the idea we split from perfect love. That immediately creates this deep, nagging feeling of guilt over what we think we did. Then, that guilt creates this intense fear that we're going to be punished for it. And what does our mind do with a fear that big? It can't handle it, so it shoves it outward, it projects it. And boom, that's the attacking, conflicted world we see.
All right, so if the whole problem started in the mind, it stands to reason the solution has to be there too. And the Course gives us one single, really powerful tool to reverse this whole crazy chain reaction. And that tool is forgiveness.
And this is a big but, the Course does it again. It takes a word we all think we know, forgiveness, and just flips it completely upside down. This is not the forgiveness we learned about growing up. It's a totally radical new way of looking at it.
And you can see the difference right here. Worldly forgiveness, right? That's usually about someone doing something genuinely wrong to you. Their sin is real, and you, being the bigger person, decide to pardon them. But Course forgiveness, totally different. It's about realizing that the sin you thought you saw out there, it was never actually real. It was a mistake, an error in your perception. So forgiveness isn't about letting them off the hook, it's about correcting your own mind.
This all boils down to a pretty mind-bending idea. When we forgive someone else, we're not actually doing it for them. We're doing it for us. We are literally freeing ourselves from the painful weight of all that guilt and attack that we were projecting onto them. When you give the gift of forgiveness, you're always the first one to get it. Because what you're really doing is healing your own mind. Okay, so what happens when we start to practice this kind of forgiveness over and over? Well, that's when something really extraordinary starts to happen. And the Course has a special name for it, a miracle. Now, hold on. A miracle here isn't about, parting the Red Sea or anything like that. A miracle in the Course is something that happens completely inside your head. It's that tiny shift in perception in any given moment. It's choosing to see with love instead of with fear. It's choosing forgiveness instead of holding on to a grudge. It doesn't do anything new. It just undoes the mistake in your mind. which lets you finally see the love that was hiding there all along.
And the Course says these miracles aren't supposed to be rare, special events. They're just the natural, everyday result of choosing to forgive. They're basically expressions of love. They help us see beyond the body, beyond the ego's scary little world. And every time a miracle happens, it's like it reorganizes our whole perception, freeing us from fear and reminding us that we're all connected. It's a gift that blesses the person who gives it and the person who receives it at the exact same time.
So, where is all this headed? All this work, changing our thoughts, forgiving everything, having these miracles. What's the end game? Well, we finally reached the ultimate goal of this whole journey for the mind. The whole point, the ultimate purpose, is to wake up. To wake up from what the Course calls the dream. This dream of being separate, of sin, of death. The goal is to completely undo the ego's way of thinking so that we can finally remember who we really are, a single, unified, totally safe and eternal spirit, forever connected to that source of love.
And what does that awakening feel like? In one word, peace. And I don't mean the kind of peace the world talks about, the fragile kind that can be broken at any moment. This is a deep, rock-solid, unshakable peace. The kind of peace that comes from knowing, deep down, that the world of fear was never real to begin with. When you keep practicing this forgiveness, you find this quiet center inside you that just can't be touched by the chaos of the dream.
So in the end, the Course doesn't just hand us a bunch of cool, abstract ideas. It leaves us with a choice. It gives us a very real, very personal question we can ask ourselves anytime we're feeling upset or afraid. You look out at the world of conflict and fear, and you just ask yourself, is this the world I really want to see? Because if you follow its teachings, another world, a world built on peace and forgiveness and love, is right there for the choosing. It's just one thought away.